What is going on, everybody? Once again, my name is Brad Carney, and I am the lead developer on Exoverse. And today I want to do something that I haven't done before, but I've been wanting to do for a while, which is basically make a video to basically break down the recent patch that just came out. Basically, just kind of give you guys a little breakdown of our thought process behind some of these changes, kind of what we're thinking, just a little more context for what that means for you, the player. So let's go ahead and get started here. So this update was a little late. I'm honestly not too proud of that, but it ended up being worth it because we ended up getting some things in here that weren't originally planned because it ended up taking about another 10 days, which basically gave us time to do these skyboxes. And basically like really overhaul the lighting on all the levels. So basically the colors look a hell of a lot better. The skyboxes themselves look a lot better. And just the lighting, it just really adds a whole bunch to just basically how the levels look as a whole. I'm really pleased with how they turned out. So let's go ahead and get started on some of the changes. So first of all, major big thing, added a new monster. We added the Kagorox Chieftan. So this is the middle tier of the Kagorox. For those who don't know, like every enemy kind of has like 3 different calibers to it. There is a light version, there's a medium version, and a heavy version. So like for the Snar, the light ones are the troopers, which are easier to kill, not as threatening. And then there are the soldiers who are more HP. In some cases, they're more deadly. They do a little bit more damage to the beacon. And then there are the heavy versions, which are the bruisers. So basically, every species of enemy is going to have like 3 distinct breeds to it. So these chieftains here are the middle breed, and like the savages, who come in a red and blue variety. The red ones giving bonus attack damage to nearby enemies, and the blue ones giving armor to nearby enemies. We have the green chieftains, which give nearby enemies regeneration. And then we have yellow chieftains, which give nearby enemies speeds. So basically, these are 2 little bit more threatening status effects than what the savages do. So, a little tougher of an enemy. Not too terribly hard to take down though. Like they do have more HP than the savages, but they're definitely not a very tanky enemy. So. And we think that's important. It's an enemy that's threatening but easy to take down. Like that means you should prioritize that enemy and give a little bit of thought to what you're shooting at instead of just kind of shooting at everything. So yeah, new monster. It's present in Rainforest 2, but it's not till the 2nd round. So not really going to be seeing too many of these guys currently. But yeah. So next thing is the skyboxes. So every level got an entirely new skybox. In the case of Metroplex, like it really makes like a huge difference. Like if we just go up here, like I mean you see like the big impact that the skybox is having on the level in terms of the shadow and the color. Like basically Metroplex was kind of unlit before. Like during this update, one of our artists was like, yeah, it feels like Metroplex is like unlit. And I was like, oh yeah, that's because it is. Like we started like redoing Metroplex. Like I didn't really know what to do with the lighting, so basically I just kind of like left it unlit. It ended up looking fine for a while, just because like the texturing and the models were all really good and everything. Plus like the glass, which is a lot more transparent now. It's basically like masking out the lighting from the skybox completely. But we ended up making this more transparent so the light can come through more. Have a lot more impact on the level. So Metroplex looking a lot better. The hub, the Nebula Omnis, looking a lot better. So was kind of making fun of the skybox in the previous update. It was like, well, yeah, that's kind of placeholder. I honestly don't even know where that skybox had come from. I don't know if that was something that Remco, our texture artist, did. As like a placeholder if it's something you found or what. I don't know. But basically, it's all done now. And these are looking really, really good. Another big thing is that objects in the world are now factored into the world's shadows. So basically, you can see like the shadows that are cast here. Basically, objects like monsters. You can kind of see it right here, like in the with this chieftain here. Basically, like objects will factor into these shadows as well. So like if you put up towers, turrets, it'll cast shadows. But this only happens like when the enemies and towers are like in a lit area. So like, if like right here, like this is like a shadowed region. If I were to put a tower there, it wouldn't have any effect on the shadowing or anything. Which currently looks pretty cool. I was gonna have a setting to disable this like on certain enemies or certain objects, like missiles and like giblets, but like I don't know, it looks pretty cool with everything. So currently, don't see a need to add kind of like a per object setting to disable this effect here. But in the case, it's pretty optimized, but there is an option to turn it off if this is causing slowdown for you. But yeah, so on to visual polish. So we improved the portal display, so there's greater color depth. So you can actually see it a little bit here in this little promo image thing. But basically the rings on the portals, they have like a greater depth of color. So it's like they actually go from like a deep blue to like a white. Or it was kind of like all like a big smear of kind of blue color before. So basically these are looking a lot better. I think the portals are pretty much at 100% now. Really pleased with how they're looking. Added a new color for closed portals, or basically portals that won't have any enemies coming through the next wave. So now these are like a kind of like a dark purple color, which you can see in the hub at the beginning of the game. So it basically it's kind of lets you know like this isn't a portal that you have to worry about. So basically it's a little more clarity. Fields now have proper icons. I am very pleased with how these turned out. I for a long time I wasn't sure what I wanted to do for the icons because the fields are basically going to be particle effects, and it's like how do I take a screenshot of, because like all the other icons are basically like renders, of like the enemies and everything. And it's like, how do I take a render of like a particle effect? But basically, just kind of came up with like icons to kind of represent each of the fields. Then Kami, one of our wonderful artists, he basically took those symbols and made 3D versions of them, and that's what we have now. They look really, really good. Very pleased with those. Added visual effects for the fields. Finally took care of that. So basically the fields are no longer these kind of placeholder looking things. They actually look pretty good now, I think. So some of them I think could definitely look a little better, but at least they're like functional now. At least they're looking pretty good. And each field kind of has like 3 different effects. So there's like an idle effect where the field is just kind of like sitting there and just kind of waiting for something to walk in. There's an active effect, which is like when something has walked in and the field's kind of doing its thing. Like the time fields are slowing. The marking fields are marking. Gravity fields are sucking everything in. And then there's a cooldown effect. So basically all the fields, like they kind of do something for a while and then they go on cooldown, so they don't just continuously have their effect. So basically each field has like 3 different effects for it. For the most, I'm pretty happy with them. Added visual effects for Space Jam. So finally, like he actually, it definitely didn't look good before, without the effects. But now it's like when you kill the pieces, like they blow apart. When they divide, it's like there's all sorts of goop going everywhere. He has like a dripping effect, like when he's just kind of floating around, which I'm not thrilled with yet, but I'll probably keep working on that. But basically he's got effects now, and I think they're looking pretty good. So like when you like kill the pieces, like they actually blow apart instead of just like disappearing awkwardly. So pretty happy with those. Added visual effects for each of the enemy status effects. So basically like this is like for the champions. And this is like when enemies are empowered by the Kagoroks. Let me make sure I'm okay. in OBS, like I'm only focused on like a small part of the screen. I want to make sure I'm not like highlighting something that's not actually on the screen. So this is basically like little effects that come off the enemies when they have like these different status effects. Basically it's to enhance the communication. Like, hey, this enemy has this effect. So it's like when enemies have like armor. It's like a little armor icon will float up off of them, and got these effects in for like pretty much everything. So I'm pretty happy with those. There's still a little bit more I would like to do with the champion enemies. Like I would really like to have them have like some kind of glowing aura around them in addition to these effects. But still haven't found a great way to do that. Hopefully soon. We're working on it. Overhauled the screen shake system. So I was watching this video. It was part of the Game Maker's Toolkit, and he was basically talking about how, it's really important to do as much as you can to make your game kind of pop and sizzle. And a lot of that, like one of the big elements that he highlighted in that was screen shaking, and it's like we kind of had like a little bit of screen shaking. It wasn't too sophisticated. It was just kind of randomly displacing the camera, which is it's nice, but it wasn't as good as it could be. And this pretty much takes this up to the next level. So it's like each weapon kind of has like its own different unique shake with its own properties. There's different kinds of shakes. So like there's there is like the random displacement, but like there's also like moving the camera kind of like in an elliptical pattern. That kind of thing. So it's like all the weapons have their own unique shakes now, and it's like different like per weapon. Like rifles kind of have like their own thing, shotguns kind of have their own thing, the bazookas have their own thing. So there's that, and there's like some shakes like when you get hit. But I mean nothing's really too terribly bad. Like we don't want like the camera to be like shaking all over the place so you get disoriented and it makes you sick. I'm hoping no one complains about this, so I don't have to like put an option to turn this off. But excuse me. I've tried to get as much feedback as I could, and it didn't seem like it was too bad. So pretty happy with this overall. Added a new in-depth display when an item is spawned at the item platform. This only applies on the normal difficulty setting. So this is something I noticed like with a bunch of people. And I know, Dad, if you're watching, like I know you think this is just you, but seriously, it's a ton of people. So like I would notice like a bunch of people would like miss the item. Like it seems like the item platform is like one of the most unintuitive things about this game, and like there isn't really like a great solution to it. So basically, I've just kind of taken steps to like make sure that like it's really apparent when an item has spawned. So like now this like creates a little message at the bottom of the screen that kind of animates into the screen. It's kind of like the same as like the beacon under attack little message. Well, but then there's like arrows that kind of display like what direction the item is in. You can see the item through the wall. It's actually like pretty sophisticated. It's something I've been wanting to do for a while. But yeah, that's all on there. And I from what I've seen, because a couple of people have streamed the version of the game where this has been present, it seems like it helps a lot. So I'm really pleased with that. Hunters now produce a small dust cloud when hit to the ground after being killed. I mean, it's just kind of a minor thing, but it's like you want like the enemies to like seem like they're actually like part of the world instead of like kind of like just this weird overlay. So like anything they can do to like interact with the world kind of helps with that a little bit. Like creating a little dust cloud like when they hit the ground. It adds to that. Metroplex now has some subtle dust particles in the air. I'm pretty proud of this, even though it's like a really minor thing. But it's like here in the Metroplex, you kind of see like a little bit. But it's kind of like little dust particles in the air. They just kind of float around. I think it has a lot, and it's like a really simple thing too. But it just really kind of kicks the whole presentation of Metroplex up a notch. And finally, improve the highlight around the newly acquired items on the inventory screen. So, basically I was noticing like some people are they would get a new item, they would go to the inventory screen to kind of see what the item was, and like because like the highlight was so bad before and like didn't really animate that much, it's like they wouldn't notice. So hopefully that looks a little bit better now. And that's gonna get people's attention now, which to my knowledge it has, based on my limited observation. So finally, onto the new and improved section. Kane's Brave Star can now be used to deflect enemy missiles when hitting them with your swing. So this is something Data was saying would be nice. Like basically it might be nice to reflect missiles with Kane's sword, just because he had like such a tough time against or Kane has such a tough time against projectile enemies. So now you can smack those things with your sword and send them back whence they came. It's actually like really strong against like phase seekers, because like you can hit their missiles and like not only will it like reverse the direction of the things you hit, but like it'll actually like things that seek out their target, it'll actually like reflect that target. So it's like the missiles go seek towards instead of like seeking towards you, they'll seek towards the thing that sent them. So it's actually pretty good. So it's probably like you have to like deflect it like with your swing, which means there's some timing involved. So it might not be like the most useful thing in the world, but hey, it's something. So this next little section here, I've been working on the fields, like in addition to doing like the visual effects, like I've been wanting to get like their gameplay up to the next level too. Just because like in a lot of cases like they seemed undertuned, and I think before this update like a lot was even like broken about them. No, I take that back. It was something was broken, but it didn't make a difference because I wasn't trying to do a certain thing with them yet. Anyway, just disregard that. But so the amp fields now stay active until everything leaves the field. So amp fields, like they weren't strong enough before. Like you would like walk into one to try and like amplify your own damage. And then like 2 seconds later, like it would go on cooldown, and it's like it just really seemed clunky and unimpactful. So I basically changed these to stay active until you end up leaving the field. So you can put like a level 3 amp field down, walk into it, increase your damage by 50%, and shoot things. And basically like that's gonna work until like you're forced out of the field, which will happen because things will shoot you and you have to dodge. But it's overall like I really like this change. I think amp fields are pretty much there. Marking fields now apply marks to a set number of enemies before going on cooldown. Not too thrilled about this yet, but it seems better. So it's like the level 1 fields will mark 2 things, the level 2 fields will mark 4 things, and I think level 3 fields will mark 6 things or 8 things. I'm not sure. But basically this prevents you from putting like one level 1 field down and then just having it mark like 10,000 different striders that all run through it at the same time. So I think I like this change, but it seems like there's something better I could do with it, but I don't know. Increase the duration of level 2 gravity fields from 3 seconds to 4, and level 3 gravity fields from 4 to 8. So I really wanted these gravity fields to be like set up for combos and like kind of area tower effects, like scattershot turrets and pulse turrets. So it's like I really want them to like group a whole bunch of enemies together so that you can like get like a really juicy power shot off, or something. And like they seemed too weak before to do that, especially on the higher end. So basically here, like I've increased the duration on level 2 by a little bit and 3 by a lot. So like that's kind of another thing with the fields. It's like level 1s seemed like almost as powerful as like level 3. So it's like there wasn't really a great reason to upgrade to level 3s in a lot of cases. So I'm trying to address that a little bit, at least with the gravity fields. So these seem really good now. If you've got like a piercing weapon or something, or an area weapon, like level 3 gravity fields are pretty amazing now. So let's see here. Lower the amount of XP required to level up for all levels. Basically, the game is a little bit less grindy. You know, I think it took, I don't know, like 250 or 5, something like that, off of every level. So you know, basically, it's taking several thousand less XP to kind of get through the game, and you can kind of get through the earlier levels a lot faster. So I hopefully that makes the game feel a lot less grindy now, and hopefully it feels pretty good now. A bunch of Gogoro changes. He was a little too difficult before. Yeah, kind of like if you look at the achievements for like beating bosses and stuff. I think his defeat rate, whatever, is a little bit less than Space Jam, and people seem to, just kind of tell me directly that he seemed like he was harder than Space Jam. So taking some steps to address that. So his regen and power totems are now closer to his portal. So you don't have to run quite so far away, specifically to deal with the regen totems. Which is nice if you're playing as Kane, who doesn't quite have so much range. I've been meaning to do that for a while, but finally got it done now. Gagordo now summons 1 cluster of monsters in World 1 and 2 clusters of monsters in World 2. I used to be 3 for both. So basically, there's a trick to beating him, which is basically like to arrange your maze in such a way that like the enemies have to wrap all the way around. Specifically from like the heavy portal. So like you make like two-thirds of the enemies like loop all the way around, and then you kind of have like your maze just kind of deal with one of the portals. That seemed like it was asking a little much for people to figure out, like specifically in World 1. So it changes to like he's not summoning quite as many monsters. So like if you create like a decent enough maze and then just kind of go kill him, like your beacon shouldn't be overwhelmed by the time you kill him. So basically he's it's the amount of mage you have to set up to beat him is quite a bit less now. And then finally, like his regen totems are stronger in World 2. So like he's look, I did a lot of other things to make him easier, but this makes him a little bit tougher in World 2. So like he actually heals for more in World 2 than he does for World 1. So that's something I meant to do initially. I just, for whatever reason, didn't get around to it. The charger is now a consumable item that can be used anytime you like it, rather than a pickup. So this is an item that people it used to drop like from champions and stuff, and then people would try and like pick it up, and like they wouldn't have any shields, and they'd be like, "Hey, what's this? Why can't I pick this up? What's going on?" It would just like create a lot of confusion. So basically, I just turned this into a consumable. That you can pick up, and you can see what it does, and you can choose when you want to use it. But basically, it'll recharge all of your shields. So it's a really good item. But now it just has like a lot more clarity. It should be a lot less confusing now. Slightly improve the numerical display of damage dealt and reduce the memory overhead. So this is basically like the number of icons that come off of enemies. It's using like a different font now instead of like its own separate one. So it looks a little better, and don't have to have like a whole separate font graphic for it. So added the tons option for the amount of decals that can be present. So if you go into the display settings menu, now there's like a new option for decals. There's like a none, some, lots. Now there's tons, and then infinite. This will basically cap your decals at 8K decals, which is quite a bit. I think with like lots, like you were kind of getting to that limit around like maybe 2/3 through Metroplex at either of the levels. So basically, this is basically going to be like the same as infinite, only like it's not really infinite, but from a practical standpoint, basically is. And then finally, fire rockets now have a delay before emitting particles. So basically, now you can like fire a rocket with a bazooka, there will just be like 20,000 particles in your face. So it looks a little cleaner now. So, and finally, last section here. It's not gonna be too much to say here, but Fix the bug causing monsters to get stuck against the wall. There was, oh god, what was it? There was some kind of condition where monsters weren't able to. Oh, that's what it was. Yeah, it was like if enemies were like a little bit off the path, like they wouldn't be able to. They would start to build the path, and then because like there isn't like a valid starting point, they weren't able to construct a path, which is, yeah, I'm it's fixed. I don't know how that happened in the first place, but whatever. Um, there's a couple with the Doomwalker and their explosion sounds, but basically they fully play their sound, so they do it when they just kind of explode on the beacon, and then they do it. Where is it? And then when you overkill them, so just a little audio issue. I had to do something where you could like advance the sound to a certain point and then start playing it. But yeah, that should be all good now. Fix the issues with enemy visual effects not carrying over properly from portals into the world. That's all fixed now. Yeah, I mean I saw it multiple times. You know, it's like an enemy would have like a placeholder regen effect, and like that effect would just be like just kind of there, like in the world as the monsters run through the portal. Just wouldn't be attached to anything. And it would look really weird. The metal displayed after you beat a boss is no reflection of your performance at the boss. The one situation where like this isn't the case yet is after you clear an area, like that metal that it displays there, it's whatever. It's not really based on anything. Fix the crash occurring when Deadeye. Let's try this again. Fix the crash occurring when Deadeye's fire during a power shot. Yeah, that's something that happened while I was streaming once or twice. Really annoying. But that's all fixed now. Fix monsters not responding properly to destroyed barricades. So now, like if a kamikaze blows up a barricade, the enemies will actually try and run through that shorter path that was created. Yeah, I mean that's kind of important for kamikazes being a relevant enemy. You know, it's if the thing they do, like the monsters don't care about, then these things aren't really doing too much, are they? When getting a locked item through the gambling shop, the inventory screen shops now shows having that item rather than the locked item. Yeah, that was clearly that should be fixed. Fix the blazer, sometimes not playing its overheat animation. That was related to the rapid fire and the pistol. Those changes where you can rapid fire pistols. It's all fixed now. This was related to the item platform message change. But yeah, basically this was what this effectively changes is that you won't see like the beacon under attack thing like during like the planning phases, which can happen like excuse me, you know, like if an enemy fires a missile at the beacon, you kill that enemy, the wave ends, then it goes to plan, and that missile is still traveling, hits the beacon. You won't see that message that it's under attack anymore because who cares? This is something I only saw once. Fix the glitch with Gregorio causing his intro animation to play constantly in the rainforest. And that's from like the rocky terrain. But you know, basically I think he's like continuously hitting the floor, so it just re-triggered his hitting the floor animation over and over again. But yeah, that's fixed. This is something that's been in the game for a while, but it's actually fixed now. Fixed an issue with the Brave Star where the impact visual effects would play at a range from the actual slash area. Yeah, you know, like it's very important to communicate feedback to the player. So you know, it's like you know, like the things they're doing, like what kind of effect they're having. So you know, like if you're showing like a range that's different than like the actual range of the sword, like that's pretty bad. Fix some loading related lag after restoring a save. You know, this is just you know, you would restore a save and then you know, run into the portal. It'd have to like reload your player model for the third person animations that play there. It's all fixed now. Fix an issue with blending to from animations at a randomized start time. Yeah, it's just kind of some internal stuff that ended up getting bugged when fixing some other animation things. Don't even remember offhand. This one we covered. Fix a bug. Making items spawn higher than they should when continuing. It's all fixed. Sorry. Let's see. Fix the bug making. Oh, okay. Yeah. So these are fixed. This was. Yeah, it's complicated, but yeah. Fix the bug, cause you to look north instead of east. When east has more open terrain. Don't. I don't think this came up too often, but sometimes like you would be looking straight at a wall instead of like to the right when there's like a big bunch of open area there. It's a pretty minor thing. And then finally, fix that rendering issue caused by the display inside portals, a glitch if other portals are in view as well. So basically like you would be looking at a portal. Sometimes it wouldn't display like the stuff inside the portal. Sometimes like the view of the skybox would like just kind of change for no apparent reason. But this is what it was. It had to do with other portals being in view, and it would go by the settings of the other portal. It's complicated, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, basically that's quite a bit of changes. So I ended up calling this a big update because really a ton changed in here. But yeah, so very pleased with how this turned out overall. I hope that gives you like some kind of insight into kind of what we're thinking. I hope we found like the kind of analysis and the developer's point of view interesting, and hope to do more of this in the future. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Enjoy the update and have a nice day.